I guess I have a question. Would you say it's possible to not think? It seems to me that's what happens sometimes.
When you say not think, it makes it sound like you're not thinking, but the thought process is like totally separate and apart from you. So when your attention is not on this flow of thoughts because of identification with the body, because obviously the thoughts you identify with are about your body, your life, your experiences. So if you're not identified with the body, then these thoughts are flowing by. Whether they're there or not, your attention is not giving them any power.
Mhm.
Because again, remember, if you're formless and you are not body, then thought is not up in here. When you know yourself in a real sense, thought is basically the world. The thought objects, the body, the elements, the experiencing. Again, just like in dream, you could say the dream, the thought in the dream creates the dream world. And all the dream bodies, including the dream body that you associate yourself with as this is me within this dream, whether it be waking dream or the so-called sleeping dream, they're both the same. So thought, once you know yourself in a real sense, it changes. It's no longer that concept of, oh, when I sit, my mind is very busy, and you're pointing to inside this as your mind. This is not your mind. This is a brain that came along with the body. It's a functional organ, but it's not, quote, mind. Mind is, oh, I exist. I exist as something, and here is a world in which I'm relating.
You could say the thoughts are not mine.
Well, because there's no individuality. So
Mm.
how can the thoughts be yours? I mean, the you that you are, these thoughts are spontaneous, just as in a dream. You can't really trace the dream back to where's the dreamer originating. Once you wake up, you could say, oh, I had a dream. So the dream spontaneously was created. All the dream characters were in it, moving around, and you created a dream scenario. But it was all thought. And you can't say that, oh, the dream was in here, because in dream, you absolutely know that the dream is created formlessly. Because even you take the illusion of another body in a dream. So you're kind of abandoning the body that you thought you were to pick up another body, which
Mhm.
may or may not look anything like what your body looks like that you picked up in your waking dream. Or you have the dream of experiencing flying, and you're not sure if you're flying as a bird or if you're flying as a person because there's no sense of being in a body. Same thing with falling. You have a dream you're falling, but you don't know as what object you're falling because all the awareness and the attention is placed on this concept of falling. And when your attention is not directed towards, I am this body, these thoughts, which because I'm a body, I believe the thoughts are coming from inside this little round thing, and I'm thinking thoughts and all this sort of thing. When you know yourself in a real sense, you're formless. Any of this thought, it's not individual thought. The concept of individuality identifies with the thought and says, this is my thought. and the concept of otherness sort of impresses thoughts, as in a dream. You're having a conversation with someone, and it appears that there's, like, if you woke up, you'd be like, oh, I was conversing. But then the knowledge is, the understanding is, there was no conversing. Speaker and listener were one and the same. The concept of being two bodies, carrying on a conversation, was just that, a concept. It could not be true because you, the dreamer, were formlessly creating all the dream bodies and providing the dialogue. So listener and speaker were one and the same. When you know yourself in a real sense, that's the way the waking so-called, because consciousness is consciousness. Or you could say dream is waking dream and nighttime dream. It's the same. It's just formlessly projected. Identification with objects inside the dreams creates like a story, and the concepts of others. This is why Maharaj says, see yourself as formless. See, and you'll see the master as formless, and there will be no separation. There's no individual speaker and no individual listener. Like, oh, this is speaking and this is listening. There's the appearance of that, just like in the dream, there's the appearance of speaking and listening. I mean, you could dream that you're attending a football game. And how amazing is it that you can be all the players and all the people in the stands, and even the guy who's offering you, or lady who's offering you, hot dog and beer. It's like all of that is within yourself. You're playing all those roles. And yet you're not really playing all those roles, because when you wake up, there was no football game. There were no people. And there wasn't a you.
So when you know yourself in a real sense, it's not like you know a self. You just know.
The just I feeling.
Mhm.
That's literally, and even that goes because you're not concentrated on it. Like that just I feeling, you can sit very quickly and sort of fall back into yourself. Oh, okay. There's a sense of presence. From the position of the knower of the sense of presence, this cannot be spoken about. There's nothing. It's a void, a black hole that sucks in all concepts. There's not, and yet you are.
It's presence.
But
Presence.
you, well, no, the knower of presence. In other words, presence is an object in your awareness because you're here. And the first thing, of course, is that just I feeling, the sense of presence. Okay, here's the sense of presence. That becomes the main object of your awareness. And then you are, that's the knock, knock on the door. Anybody there? Nobody's there. But somebody had to be there to say nobody's there. That to whom the presence has appeared is your own self. And presence is the first layer of illusion, I guess you could say.
So it's not even it's like not even, you don't even know yourself yet you are, or something like that.
Well, you're self-evident.
Yeah. It's like almost like it seems like I can still sort of seem to be like there's activity going on within this self that is not
No, there's no activity there.
no activity.
Once you know yourself in a real sense, there's no experience, no experiencer, no witness, no witnesser, no world, no concepts, no words.
And so that's like a residual sense of activity that's still going on.
Well, all the activity occurs on presence, the illusory layer. And You know this sense of presence as I exist due to this body form being available. It's an instrument, a tuning fork, so to speak, that you can know this sense of presence. This sense of presence is not needed to be known, because whether presence is there or not there, you are. That's why when this body form is no longer available to sort of be the magnet to have the sense of existence be fresh, well, who cares? Because you exist, whether the sense of existence is there or not. And this is the same as if you're in a dream and you see somebody die in the dream, you attend their funeral, but there was no one there. Like that little dream body, the little dream soul didn't go to heaven or hell because it did not exist. It was conceptual. The one that was dreaming dreamed itself to be this separate individual for a time, and now it doesn't. And yet, again, in this waking dream, let's say this body is no more, and people come and say, "Oh, John is dead," but those that are saying John is dead are still the same presence that was animating this body as John. It's just because you can never not be. You cannot have the sense of existence, but you cannot not exist. Because if you didn't exist, then that sense of existence would have nothing to appear to. There'd be nothing that says, "Oh, I exist," when clicking with the body. When you know yourself in a real sense, it's beyond, 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 but not beyond because nothing ever was. It would be like within the dream to say you're beyond the dream. That only makes sense when you're within the concept of the dream. When you wake up, you can't say, "Oh, I was beyond the dream." Like, or the dream appeared in me. Like, you understand? It cannot be. And yet within the dream, you can say, "Oh, beyond. Beyond the bubble of illusion, you are." But once you wake up, the dream is no more, so there was no beyond. There was only your own self, which is the same whether it's waking or sleeping dream. And we're just using the example of dream. It's not like you say, "Oh, when I die, it's like one long dream," or whatever. This is only example. Like Maharaj says, don't get hung up in the WORDS because you're prior to words. So any words that we use, again, it would be like we're dreaming and we come up with a dream language and we all agree that we're dreaming. We're all one dreamer dreaming all these dream people. But you wake up and anything that was spoken about within the dream or anything that could be conceptualized was not true. Only within the dream did it give an appearance of truth because of identification with a body or even the concept of knowledge of knowing yourself within the dream. When you wake up, the dream's no more. So what was the benefit of knowing yourself within the dream other than whether the dream is there or not there? You are. Because without you, the dream never could have appeared.
I was contemplating my sense of self today, and the thought occurred to me, well, get over yourself. And
Which
I thought,
self? And Nisargadatta
and
used to say a very nice thing. Give a sample of this self that you're speaking about as yourself. Show a sample of this self.
it's over before it begins, I guess.
You can't. That's why he used to use the example of Mumbai. And we're not talking about dirt. We're talking about Mumbai. The concept of Mumbai, the city. present it, take it. You cannot. This concept of a you or this self, you say, oh, there's a higher self or lower self. I'm contemplating myself. Well, which self is contemplating which self? Both false selves are contemplating concepts of their ideas of the yourself. Value, Ranjit Maharaj says, 0.
It does seem like going through bliss, there's a goodness there that is not related to anything other than itself.
And that's why Maharaj says, when there's no desire for peace, there's peace. Like when you are no longer looking for peace, you're no longer looking for attention free and all that there is there. It's there.
There's no distraction.
Exactly. Now, yes, it's true. While holding this body form and you begin to do the meditation, as soon as you feel the sense of presence, it's bliss. It's almost like you're giving yourself a reward for seeking yourself, because it's selfless self-intoxication and it's bliss beyond bliss. And while you're still having the concept of individuality where you can say, I feel the bliss, or I'm able to drop into the bliss, and still, even when you know yourself in a real sense, it's just a little short bit of language of this body is the scoop of the bliss. It's the instrument for bliss, and that's really all it's good for. I can sense this sense of presence, this very deep peace, but it's just an instrument. And the peace, or the bliss, is your true nature. But the body form is the media through which this sense of presence can be experienced, for lack of a better word. Oh, I exist. And that's why beginning stage, very easy. Sit for meditation with mantra. Mantra slowly, silently, and permanently erases these illusory thoughts, where you can start to get a glimmer of that sense of presence, that I am, and that is yourself, as identification, oh, I'm presence. Then the more you remain with the mantra, and the more you sense this sense of presence, the understanding comes that presence is also a layer of illusion. Whether presence is there or not, I am. And that I has nothing. It's just self-evident. I am. I exist. Whether the knowledge of existence is there or not, I am. But for some time, disidentification with the body form, you remain with the sense of presence. The more you remain with the sense of presence, as you're doing your job, doing your duties, all these things that may be needing to be done, but you're remaining as presence, you're identifying more as presence, less as body. The more you pay attention to presence, body naturally dissolves, because you can't hold these two concepts of I'm a body and I'm formless. You're formless. Okay, this sense of presence is myself. The entire world appears on this sense of presence. I'm formless. So in reality, I cannot interact with the world. The world cannot affect me. Like the Bhagavad Gita says, you can't be burned or drowned or ripped or any of these, nothing, because you're formless. Now you know yourself as this subtle sense of presence. You identify with that and not body. The more you do that, the more the understanding comes. Whether the sense of presence is there or not, I am. But even identified with the sense of presence, you getting rid of the concept of birth and death, because You know yourself as formless presence. The body occurred within this formless presence. So you could say, dream-wise, as we use the analogy, you understand that the dream is created formlessly, even though you're holding a dream body within the dream. So you understand that it's the consciousness that's creating everything. You identify with that. Then when you wake up, you still are. The dream's gone. In the waking state, identified with presence, everything moving around in this, you could say, within yourself and within the bubble of illusion, and you're not as concerned. You're focused on just this sense of presence. I'm formless. Oh, this is happening. Well, no, it's happening within myself. There's no need to even say that. You could say you refresh your memories in times where you start to take the touch of the illusion. Oh, I need to find myself. This sense of presence. Mantra. After some time, you don't have to do mantra. You just listen to the mantra as it's naturally running in the body, and you pause. And know that the body is like a flute, an instrument. The air is in and out. The one who is listening to mantra running through the body is not in the body.
Could you say it's listening to itself, its own presence, or something?
No. Well, you don't have ears if you're formless. When I'm speaking about the body, you breathe in mantra, breathe out. Maharaj says, inhale, exhale. And in the inhaling and exhaling, at the beginning, you do this, concentrate on the nose, you sit, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. After some time, you know that this mantra is running throughout the body constantly. So you just have to pause and listen. But the listener is the invisible listener, the holder of the body, not the body. And so then the body becomes like a flute. Literally, the air is going in, air is going out. Air is going in, air is going out. But it's just instrument. And this brings you to yourself. See, everything is to bring you to yourself because you are that. You're never apart from yourself, but the concepts have separated you from yourself through thinking other things. Like you just said, is it listening to itself? Ooh, no. There is no listening because there's no ears, no eyes, no mouth, no nothing except through the body. And all of those sensations that the body is sensing, so to speak, are being directed back to your own self because you're the only reality. It can't go any other place. When we sit there, everything we do is negative, right? We're getting rid of the layers of illusion using mantra. The only reason we're using mantra to get rid of the layers of illusion is so that you don't try to actively participate in removing illusion and creating more illusion of the concept, I'm removing illusion. So you're given one specific thing, as Maharaj has mentioned, the mother who wants to cook and the children are restless. She gives the children some toys. She's able to just sit and focus on the cooking. For the selfless self, this sense that you are giving the mantra. The mantra keeps the mind sort of occupied. Okay, I'm breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, while you, the mother who's cooking, is beginning to be aware of yourself. Concentrate on the concentrator, meditate on the meditator, until everything dissolves within the concentration, within, the meditation, and there's nothing. And that nothing is the self-evident you are that. And every time you try to think about figuring it out, contemplating, or doing anything other than remaining with your selfless self, just say to yourself, what a waste of time that would be. I'm going to sit here and contemplate myself. No, what a waste of time. Instead, I'm going to sit here, breathe in, breathe out, concentrating on the mantra. After some time, it's running naturally, so all you're doing is listening to the mantra. And then the listener, recognition. Because again, invisible, anonymous, unidentified identity, that you are. If at all you want to compare yourself to sky or space. Because except your selfless self, there is no God, no Brahman, no Paramatman, no master, no disciple. Nothing is there except your selfless self, which is self-evident. It does not need any support. It is providing all the support for all of the illusory layers. Because without you, nothing is. Again, you lay down at sleep at night, dream world. If this dreamer dreaming and creating this consciousness, this dream world, was not, there'd be no dream world. And because there is a dream world and an identification, you're the support, the background, the projector, not the projections, as Maharaj says. And this body is nothing more than an instrument to sort of see inside this dream. The waking consciousness or whatever. And see, even waking and sleeping is not correct because it's just one. These so-called states that are appearing are due to identification. I'm awake or I'm asleep. But that you are does not sleep nor does it wake. Because how? The only way that you could be awake or asleep is through conceptualizing that I am asleep or I am awake, identifying with something, but you're nothing. I don't mean that as an insult. Oh, Keith, you're nothing. No. You, the you that you are, that's occupying all these bodies and all these, and all the listeners who will be listening, your body as well. Don't think it's just people here. You're nothing. The something that you're appearing to be has appeared within the nothing. And when this something is no more, that nothing is. Because you're formless right now. Because you can never not be. And you can never be a form.
I'm a little curious. When you're talking like, do you feel at all like you're talking to yourself?
There's just speaking.
Yeah.
There's no Yeah, basically we sit down and we turn this little thing on and ask a question, and they're speaking. And then this speaking just keeps speaking. That's why I don't even like go back and listen to the recording. Sometimes, and in the past, I've done it maybe once or twice just to see,
Uh-huh.
like, okay, what was it? Because there's not a concept that there's an audience or there's a it.
It was just something to do.
Well, no, it's a well, I mean, the I do take this seriously because
Yeah.
Maharaj gave the spiritual duty
Uh-huh.
of doing this. And as repayment for this, I I'm here. I do like though that we've started doing it every other week. That has really relieved a lot of pressure of having to do it weekly, weekly,
Mhm.
weekly, weekly. So if you don't mind, even as we're progressing into the fall,
Oh, it's
I
fine.
think every other week would be
Yeah.
wonderful. Yes, thank
It's
you,
nice.
Sadhguru.
It's nice to have these drills every so often.
But yeah, just spend some time with you. You've already said, oh, I can sense that sense of presence. Excellent. Then that should be the total, complete, instead of thinking about any other thing, awareness of the sense of presence. Because Nisargadatta Maharaj said, remained with the I am. In every waking moment, he remains with the I am, that sense of existence.
And it makes itself more self-evident, sort
Of
of.
course, of course. This sense of presence, this I am, the more you pay attention to that, all your awareness is on this. You're no longer like bothered by all these, because think of it like you have one laser stream or you have 100 laser streams. If you take these 100 laser streams and focus on one, it's a much stronger, yeah?
Mhm.
When you have it focused out 100 different ways, not one beam will be focused. So you focus on that sense of presence, this I exist, this I am, and then this knowledge. You are that. Whether presence is, whether presence is not, you are. Presence, the sense of existence, I am, I exist, has appeared to you. All of this world that we're seeing is on that presence. So the sense of existence, I exist, I am. This came first, the first illusion, so to speak, the disturbance. Oh, I exist. You had no need to know your existence. And once you knew your existence, you knew so many things because it spontaneously, a dream world was created. There's mom and dad, and there's this whole new something. And the perception, I am somebody else.
Yeah.
And from this, I am somebody else, all these wrong files were added in and believed in because you never investigated. You didn't like come into the world and say, oh, but I'm formless. This world's just an appearance. Because as soon as, just like in a dream, you dream tonight, you impress that you're one of those dream bodies spontaneously. Even if you have the long dream and you dream you're enlightened and you figure out it's a dream, originally the knowledge of existence came due to the fact that, oh, I exist in this body. This is me. And then because there's a me, there's others.
Yeah.
But then when you wake up, you know there was no me. There was no others. Nobody had any bodies. And everything occurred within my own self and absolutely wasn't true, no matter how long the dream appeared or seemed to appear. That's why even when they do like the sleep studies and somebody has a dream where it appears like for hours and it's less than a couple of minutes. Because it's all created spontaneously. The concept of time, because there's objects within space to measure time. But it's not true. And yet you do your job, do your duties, take care of your responsibilities. If you start to get a little irritated about something, okay, this is happening, but don't make a big deal like, oh, I must not know myself because I got some irritation. No, remember, it's five elemental body. And as long as you're holding the body, things will appear to be happening to you. That's the entry. And even when you know yourself in a real sense, the body is still available. And the illusion is going to continue, but the illusion is not impressed because you know yourself in a real sense. Something happens and there's sadness. Okay, this is the story. You're playing your part very well. But just know that you're playing all the parts. Huh?